Hey, Lennox and Parker, this is Christal Jordan, and you guys know I am usually doing culture conversations with Crystal. But today we have something it's definitely a part of culture, but as a magazine and an outlet that you guys look to for all types of pieces of your experience, we thought it was really interesting, really important for us to focus on health this morning because, as we know, little ones are going back to school, which means most of us have uh, parents are getting ready for work, you're getting your little ones ready for school. And if someone is sick at home, it can affect the entire the entire ship, right? If a little one is sick, mom has to figure out how to take care of them, or dad has to figure out how to take care of them. And then usually the little one comes home sick, and then the rest of the family ends up sick. And so today we have Dr. Eric Griggs. He is also the health chair, the COVID-19 chair for 100 Black Men of America. So we're just going to ask him some questions about how we can all stay safe this fall as we go into fall, as we move into winter, when we know that the flu, all types of different viruses, that virus that we all had to deal with a few years ago. How do we handle that? And how do we stay healthy? How do we stay safe? So please help me welcome Dr. Eric Griggs to Lennox and Parker. Welcome, Dr. Griggs.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being with us today. Like I said, we want to make sure that we're always informing our viewers. And I know myself that I have had about 10 friends that have contracted COVID over the last, I would say, month and a half, which has made me think that perhaps the virus is back on the rise. I went to Essence Music Fest, and it just seemed like everyone that went to Essence caught COVID. And so I want to talk to you about, first of all, do we need to fear? We know that COVID-19 when most of us became aware of it in 2020, it was something that was very scary because it was something that we had never really heard about before. And it caused a lot of, it shut our entire nation down. So are we looking at COVID in the same strain as it was before? Is there something new? Do we need to be worried about being shut down again? Doctor, give us quench this fear that I feel kind of building up as I hear all these cases popping up everywhere.
So let's start with matching of energies. Right now, currently, I know 6 people within my circle in 3 different states that I'm very, very close to, ranging from less than a year of age all the way to their mid 70s that currently are experiencing COVID-19 right now.
Mhm.
What we're going through is this is the same pattern that we've seen over the last 5 years. There's a small surge when the kids go back to school, just like you said, because the kids go back to school and kids catch everything. They share everything. They share their bugs, they share their food, they share experiences, they share toy boxes. But most importantly, the thing is they bring their bugs and viruses home with them, and they can infect entire families. I know of a grandmother, a mother, and a child that are infected with COVID right now, and of course that can spiral out over the course of this virus, the evolution of the virus. COVID has become become less virulent or lethal and more infectious and more contagious. As such, we've noticed over the last few years, you've noticed the recommendations from the CDC have changed. Though it's not a mild, benign virus, it's something that we always have to stay aware of because it has a respiratory mode of entry, can damage the blood vessels. We know about these things called long COVID. It's not the same thing that it was when it first hit the scene. We were panicking. We had to shut things down because it was a novel virus. We had never heard of it before. Well, now we're about 5 years in. We know what it does. We know that, again, it's evolved to be more infectious and less lethal. So you can rest easy with that. However, we don't want to spread any type of virus to someone if we can help it. If you can remember when we did have to go on the total lockdown, stay away from each other, do all those things that were very unnatural to us because we'd never been through it before. You notice that the numbers for the flu and RSV, they all went down. And then we went through this celebratory period, rejoicing. We went from masking and getting vaccinated and keeping our distance and being responsible, washing it. Oh, Now we're gonna get to that. Now that's something that we should never stop doing. Wash your hands, wash your hands. Please wash your hands. Your mama said wash your hands. Your grandma said wash your hands. Guess what you need to be doing? Washing your hands. But the thing is, it's evolved to a point that we're manageable now. The wastewater surveillance right now is what happens is they test our wastewater, our sewage water, to see what the number of the virus is in the communities. And of course, there's a little bump and a surge. Again, we see this fall surge at the beginning of the school year. It's kind of like a warning or a precursor to what could happen or what's coming in the winter. So again, it's evolved to the point that we don't need to panic, but we need to be responsible. Again, we need to, if you're sick, wear a mask. If you're sick, wear a mask. And if you're feeling sick, stay at home. You want to isolate for a minimum of 5 days. If you have to go out after the 5 days, you wear a mask and wash your hands.
Okay. Now I got a couple of questions. I actually have quite a few questions. So we're going to start with the first one. You mentioned the flu, RSV, and COVID, and all of those viruses. We definitely know pick up when it seems like when it gets colder outside, right? It seems like when the weather changes. What is the difference between? Because a lot of times the symptoms seem like they can be similar between the flu, COVID, and RSV.
So let's start with some definitions. The symptoms are the way your body responds to an intruder. No matter what the virus is, if you get some type of infection, your sinuses are going to swell. You're going to get this congestion. You can get the buildup of sputum or mucus that can drip down through your throat to give you the sore throat, because you have an invader attacking your body. It's going to need to pull out the white blood cells in the armies to try to combat whatever pathogens in there. So the blood vessels are going to have to dilate, right? As the blood vessels dilate, they give off heat, which causes the fever. Now, mind you, I haven't named the entity yet. This is just a foreign invader. This is the body's reaction, which is why if you get...
That's not good. This is what is happening to anything that is not... that the body feels like it has to fight. That's the reaction.
Yeah, this is a foreign invader. Wait. So we got to go out and we're going to box it up. We got to fight this thing. So wait, open the doors, pull all the troops out. We're going to start working. Then, going to start sweating. You're going to give off heat. Now, wait, who are we fighting? Oh, I don't know. Wait, let me see. Oh, that's the flu. Oh, that's a little different. Oh, that's going to be around for a while. And it's going to cause the muscle aches and the joint pain. It's going to cause... the flu is a sudden onset. You feel like you got hit by a bear or run over by a truck, or you fought a bear, you got run over by a truck. Colds are more insidious, meaning that they come on more subtly. The colds can cause... all of these can cause... it can cause the cold virus can cause the congestion, as can your RSV. Again, these are all different pathogens or different entities our bodies have to fight that elicit the same response. The difference is, prior to COVID, the flu was one of the most lethal respiratory viruses that we knew. It killed 50,000 people in the United States a year prior to. So we still have to have our eyes out for it. We talked about RSV. It's something that hits the most vulnerable, which would be our seniors and those that are immune compromised, and our babies. Prior to COVID, it was seasonal. You would see it with kids, mostly in kids. And if you had a healthy immune system, you'd have a lot of nasal drips if you had it as an adult. But now, as COVID has disguised itself, if you're starting to notice, they have certain seasons. They would have seasons for the flu, seasons for RSV, seasons it seemed like we were going to have for COVID. But COVID seemed like it figured out that, if I act like RSV and I don't make people as sick, and I'm gonna even act like allergies. So if I act like that, I can hang out and survive in this species forever. They're not going to isolate. They're going to keep passing me along. So that's the thing. So it's mixed up. It's like the virus has evolved to make its symptoms milder than what we first saw, so it can stick around. And as a consequence, our body responds like it would to any other pathogen. That does not mean that the COVID virus isn't doing the damage that it can do in our body, giving the risk of long COVID. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I think that's, one of the next questions is, because it sounds like a lot of those, like you said, overlap. I actually went to Essence was frightened I had COVID because I started having those symptoms, right? Head congestion, sneezing, all of a sudden, and I went to the doctor, but I had actually been bitten by a spider, and it caused me to have the exact same symptoms. So it explains why my body was just like something's not right, and I that threw me off. Like, how am I reacting to a spider bite? But I digress. So
Well, the spider bite injects venom, which is a foreign body, so it pulls a switch for the immune system. Hey, we have to protect her. Well, what do? We need to cause a fever. We're gonna cause her joints to ache. We're gonna make her congested. Look, we're gonna pull out all the tools we have. Look, something is wrong.
yeah, that is, and I had no. Now I understand why that happened, because I was like, how does a spider bite cause me to feel like I have the flu? I started taking Theraflu, and it was not working, and it was obviously I needed. I had to go get a tetanus shot, a steroid, but in any case,
So wait, right there. You pulled out a point for me. Like you have questions, but I want to pull up a major point.
mhm,
What you started taking, the medicines for the most part that you take over the counter,
mhm,
treat the symptoms. They
mm,
generically treat the symptoms. They lower the fever. They
mhm,
decrease the inflammation. So you won't have, when blood vessels dilate and there's inflammation, they push on nerve cells, so you get pain. So think about what it is you take, the multi-system. We're going to decrease the congestion. We're going to
mhm,
decrease the inflammation. We're going to treat the fever. Those are all symptoms of your body fighting something. You notice you
wow,
don't have specific, you don't have a spider bite medicine. That you don't have spider bite Tylenol, you got spider bite Advil, RSV Benadryl. No, it's to treat. Those are to treat you and to make you feel better while your body's trying to figure out what's going on. The reason that we go to the doctor is so we can find out specifically what is wrong, so we can treat it at the source. And the
mm,
best thing to do is to prevent it. It's kind of hard to prevent a spider bite because spiders hide everywhere, but
yeah,
there's
no,
preventative things we can do that too. Yeah.
you definitely explained that, because I still did not understand how that happened. So that makes sense. So let's talk about what is happening to our body, because that to me, it lets us know that a lot of times we're just dealing with the symptoms. What is the effects that those infections or those viruses are having on our body? A lot of my friends and even family members, my mother, in fact, has long COVID symptoms. And so, why do some people get that? Some people don't. What are the differences? And how can we? I guess, how do you treat that? I have a friend that caught COVID one time, and now he has breathing issues, just consistent, issues with, almost like he caught asthma from COVID. So what, first of all, what is the virus doing to us long term? Even if we don't have the symptoms, do we still have that damage? Do we still have the leftover effects of the virus? And how do we take care of ourselves if we do have long COVID?
So we're specifically talking about COVID because each virus affects the body differently. What these viruses have in common, which is why they're called respiratory seasonal viruses, right? Seasonal respiratory viruses, is the fact they have mostly a respiratory portal of entry, meaning that we're breathing them in, right?
Mhm.
The difference with COVID, though, and I know this from firsthand because I have a friend that's a cardiovascular surgeon and showed me the difference between some of his patients that he has when they're exposed, the
Mhm.
heart and the blood system of a patient that he was doing surgery on with COVID and one without. COVID-19 affects every blood vessel in the body. It has a respiratory portal of entry, but it affects and damages the blood vessels. And as a consequence of damaging the blood vessels, think about this: every organ, every cell in the body needs blood, right? Which means you have blood vessel damage everywhere. It's the equivalent of having a high school hungry football team of JV boys and JV girls and letting them loose in the cafeteria with a buffet with all the tables there with no rules.
Sounds
A
horrible.
hundred boy, 100, 200 boys, just letting them go, just letting them do their thing. And
Mm.
then finally corralling them and getting order, right? Sad to say, that cafeteria will never really be the same. Now you can get it back functioning and working the way that it is, but you got to repair the holes in the wall, the sheetrock around it. You got to get your employees back in there and the school monitors still while trying to serve food to everyone else. It takes time to get that cafeteria functional again. First, you got to get all the boys out,
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
the football team out. You got to get them all out, and it's going to take a while to get those out. That's an active COVID infection. You got a virus in there that's just replicating. Wait. Who's supervising y'all? Nobody. So you got to get somebody in there to corral them and establish order. Not just order of dampening, but order in getting them out of the room. Once they're out, that's when the long COVID begins. Because no matter what, the school has to be open. You have to feed the kids. Well, you have to start, your body has to start functioning like it normally would without being able to use the 100% of that wall over there. Or that line's not open, or that stove is broken. So it takes time for all of that stuff to heal. And as a consequence, you're going to have problems in the body. I'm going to have problems thinking like I normally would. Wait, what happened? Give me a minute, and then it'll come to me. I'm going to have problems with digestion. If I was predisposed to diabetes and the blood flow is compromised, if I had another condition, then I might end up crossing the threshold to be diabetic or hypertensive or any other. I might have strokes, because here's the other thing. As the body is healing, right, things get sticky in the blood vessels, right? And as a consequence of that stickiness is when you get clots and the stop in blood flow, which can lead to cardiovascular events. Does that make sense? That makes sense?
That definitely makes sense. That was a great example. Is that also why, Dr. Griggs, when we are sick, we hear our doctors say that we need to rest? I can admit I am guilty of, I remember having COVID and trying to work so hard. I mean, I was trying, and my head hurt so bad, I had to put my computer down. But as soon as I started to feel a little bit better, I jumped right back in, right? And from your example, I'm understanding why rest, really is one of the things that we need to do in order to get well. Can you talk a little bit about how important is it? I have another girlfriend who is, I won't put her business out there, but she's an iconic artist, and she had COVID and she wanted to get right back out on stage and start dancing and singing again. And that, it sounds like rest is almost as important as making sure that we're taking our vitamins and taking our medicine.
So rest is infinitely important, particularly phase 3. There's 4 phases of sleep. Phase 3 is when the restoration and the recuperation and the repair happens in phase 3. Everyone says it's REM sleep. It's actually the phase before that. Here's the thing. I'm going to go back to my analogy. So if you got all the boys wrestling, cutting up in the cafeteria, tearing it up, what are you going to do about lunchtime? When are you going to let the kindergartners go in there? When is it safe for them to go back in there? When's the cafeteria open to function? There's no employees. The equipment is being damaged. The walls are being damaged. The legs on the tables and chairs are being broken. You have to shut the school down, and you have to shut the cafeteria down in order to establish order, in order to figure out what's going on. Hold on, wait, stop. Stop. It's like when you get someone's explaining something too fast. Stop, wait. Or you get lost in your car. Let me turn off the radio. Not like that's going to help. But you need to shut things down to establish order. Your body is fighting. There's a war going on. It's going in, it's doing its thing. You need to get out of your body's way and do everything that you possibly can to feed your troops. You need to make sure you eat enough. You need to make sure that your troops have enough water. And if you know that you got people coming in there to try to establish order and do repair, you're going to make sure, look, y'all need to make sure y'all get enough sleep. Y'all been working from 2 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's enough. Let me move everybody out of your way. Look, we're going to cater your foods to you. We'll make sure that you have water every hour. And most importantly, we're going to shut this down, get you away from here, and let you get enough rest. Rest is important. It's like you're fighting 2 battles at once, right? You're trying to work while they're trying to fix, but as you're moving, you're damaging more stuff, and you're just giving them more stuff to do. So rest is important, and your body gives you signals, right? You said you got a headache. Okay, well, you know what? Guess what happened? You stopped trying to read. You stopped trying. Look, girl, I got to call you back. Don't call me. Don't talk to me. Look, I just don't want no noises. I just need to be. Nobody's sleep hygiene is better than someone that has the flu. And I go back to the flu because that's what we're most familiar with. We go in that dark room. We turn off the TV. Yeah. We get the temperature just right. If the phone rings, we look at it, be like, I don't need to talk to them. I don't want to talk to nobody. Why? Because you have to get out of your body's way while on the inside, it's trying to do its repair. And your body will let you know. The funny thing about being sick and being bedridden, and it's a funny thing in medicine, when the patients are starting to feel better,
Mm-hmm.
when you walk in the room and you don't see them and they're in the bathroom putting on makeup, or they're in the bathroom cleaning themselves. Ooh, look, I need a haircut. Wow. Oh, I guess you're feeling better. Yeah, yeah. So it's listening to ourselves and not being so busy doing the work in the world that we won't let our bodies do the work on us.
Wow. It's just one of the things I'm thinking, that's occurring to me as I'm listening to you is how amazing our bodies are and how we need to take better care of them because they really do. There's a lot going on that we have no idea. We're just thinking, oh, I don't, I've got a little bit of nose drip, not knowing that your body is actually working to keep you safe and keep you healthy. Also speaks to why we need to take care of our immune system. So we talked about how all of that happens. Dr. Griggs, what can we do to prevent? Because obviously, these things happen and they're going to happen. But what can we do to be better stewards for our bodies so that we can prevent, coming into contact with the viruses, or make sure that our bodies are strong enough so that their defenses are up when something does happen.
So, the funny thing is, a good buddy of mine, like Calvin Mackey, gave me one. He said, high functioning societies are child centered, adult governed, and elder ruled. Like, what do you mean? You focus on the children, the adults do the work, and they're governed by the elders in the community. And that's how we build wealth, health, and healthy communities. Well, look at your body as a community, and why don't you treat yourself like you would treat a child? If we were on the phone right now and I had a child in the background, you'd be looking at me, but the whole time you'd be watching. And if they were about to do something, I'd say, Dr. Gray, excuse me, you need to. So if you want to effectively change a community, you talk to children. If you want to effectively and properly take care of yourself, treat yourself like you would baby Christal. What would you do? Well, no, no. Look, you're not feeling well. Well, she got the sniffles. Oh no, baby, you need to stay home. What did you eat today? What did you? The questions we would ask a child, we need to ask it. What did I eat today? Did I eat the proper portions of fruits and vegetables? Did I get enough rest? Did I drink enough water? Am I washing my hands? Am I paying attention to if you hear that there's a virus outbreak at the school, well, you're not sending baby Christal to that school. So if you know that there are people at work that are the numbers are up at work, why would you go? And if you went, if you sent baby Christal there, you would put a mask on her. And you would tell her, look, don't share nothing with nobody. I want you to stand 6 feet away from each other at a minimum. I want you to wash your hands, wash your, when you get a chance, if you wash your face, if someone actually, you see some sort of saliva get on you, you need to wash it off and wash your hands. Again, talk to ourselves, get enough rest. Did you get enough rest? You know what? It's 7 o'clock, time for everybody to go to bed because you have to get up early. I don't feel well. You're not going to send them to school. Well, if you don't feel well and you have a fever, stay home. I'm not going to give you a Tylenol and tell you to go to school, which is what we do to ourselves. I'm just going to take a Tylenol. I'll be good at work. No, treat yourself like you would your baby self or your children, your grandchildren, nieces, and nephews. Washing our hands, masking, and most importantly, and this is where you get a lot of pushback, if we had something to protect baby Christal, we would do it. We make sure you have all your shots. Why? Because we know this will protect you when you're in that environment. So getting vaccinated, wearing a mask, washing, I can't say it enough, washing your hands, washing it. You know, if you're worried about being assy, give them some lotion. And say that to baby Christal. I have to say that to baby Eric all the time. Griggs, you're assy, bro. You're assy. Wash your hands. But it's things like that. Following all of the guidelines. I mean, avoiding public places without a mask. If you know people, if the numbers are up, like you said you went to an event this summer and people got COVID. Well, next year when you go, I bet you'll handle it a little bit differently, and you'll check the room for spiders. That was just random.
It was a freak accident. Who thought I would not get COVID but got bitten by a spider? Last question, Dr. Griggs. I know we've kept you a little bit over, but I have to ask this because, talking to the Black community, there is a lot of distrust, specifically when it comes to viruses or things like that, because a lot of times our community is targeted with misinformation, I feel, and so wondering from your perspective, there's been a lot of conversation on, the virus, the vaccines, and in the past, when COVID first hit, there were different types of vaccines. Everybody had their favorite. Different people's bodies reacted different to different vaccines. What is your take on if our vaccines healthy and I guess safe enough for us to make sure that our little babies have them? And if so, is there a certain way that we should do research to make sure that we are getting the correct vaccine for our body?
So yes, the first thing you want to do is you want to stay close to, if you're talking about kids, stay close to your pediatrician. Ask all of your questions to the pediatrician. The CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services update their information. We want people to risk less and do more. Take less of a risk. All the things that we're talking about are protective. Part of the reason we're able to do what we're able to do is because of the realm of public health. I'm a medical doctor, but I practice public health, helping the masses. Small things have allowed us to evolve as a species. So you want to go to your trusted websites, your CDCs, Department of Health and Human Services, the voices that talk you through. Not I don't like tooting my own horn, but I tend to have to I do this every day, and I have to filter through the information that I give to people because there's accountability, and I want to be socially responsible and publicly responsible. So again, you want to not just follow what you see on TikTok because somebody's cousin's brother's uncle's nephew had a friend that worked at a hospital and they said what had happened. The other thing is take down the defense and take in the information. The purpose of giving information from a scientific perspective, and I had to deal with this a lot during the pandemic, is I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to listen to you first. When you're in spaces where people are averse to medicine, averse to vaccines, averse to the whole concept, you need to listen, because that's part of the problem is people don't hear heard. You want to tell them that I hear you, but here's my facts. Here's the science that I have. Here's the latest. And if you don't know, say you don't know. And that's as a trusted messenger, that's the best thing you can do. But then you don't judge. I tell people I'm going to be here regardless. If you don't want to do this, I'll be here. If you get sick, I'll be here. That's my calling. It's my social responsibility. It's my responsibility professionally, the whole night. I'm going to be here to help you no matter what. I'm just giving you the best options that you can do. And I know these things work. Masking works. Vaccines work. Vaccines have an origin. Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett, even before that, it goes back to a slave named Onesimus, who was a slave of Cotton Mather, who asked, this was during the smallpox epidemic, how do you protect yourself against smallpox? Well, we have a thing called vaca, means cow. How do you protect yourself? Well, we take a little bit of the sore and we put it under the skin. And that's how it's been protected for generations in Asia and Africa. Cotton Mather passed this on, and then it passed on. It turned into this whole concept of vaccinations 100 years later. And here we are. Vaccines work. There have been people of African descent involved in the process all the way up to now. These COVID vaccines aren't new. The flu vaccines aren't new. Protection against RSV is relatively new, but it actually works, and it's something amazing and exciting to know about. We're 5 years since the inception of our knowledge worldwide of COVID, and technology has evolved. We know that works, but if you're not going to do that, the things that you can do, and there are still people I deal with that aren't doing it, avoid the public spaces. Do the thing that if you do your part, we here in the science world will continue to do our part. Wash your hands. Don't go to work if you're sick. Wear your mask. Pay attention and keep asking questions. I don't see it as challenging. I see it as being inquisitive, which is what we want. Wear your mask. Get your sleep. Get checked. Get fit. Get moving. Stay close to your doctor. Get fit. Eat healthy foods. Exercise. Stay healthy. And if you have a chronic condition, and you're not taking care of yourself, that makes you susceptible. It's being immune compromised. Something as simple as not regularly taking your diabetes medication. Something as simple as not regularly taking your hypertensive medications. Your body wants to be in a zen, a peaceful state. Anything that you can do to keep your body in a peaceful state for when it does have to go and fight off these viruses, you want to do the work. You want to do anything you can to have your troops as prepared as possible. But keep asking questions. Wash your hands. Stay tuned. Wear your mask. If you're sick, stay home.
I love
Talk
it.
to yourself. Take care of baby Christal.
Take care of the baby version of yourself. Well, first of all, thank you so much for spending this time with us this morning. Dr. Griggs giving us a little Black history facts. I love that with the vaccines. That was really helpful. And I think that not something that I'd ever heard before. And then just reminding us of how to keep our communities and our children safe. I really love the point that you made about how to keep safe communities is to be focused on the children, governed by the adults. And then what was the last one for the elderly?
Child-centered, adult-governed, elder-ruled. And if the thing is, if kids ask all the time, though, I want to be a doctor. What do I need to do? I'm like, well, first of all, I need to send you to hang out with the medical students, because if you want to be a doctor, you hang out with medical students. If you want to be a fire person, you hang out with the fire people. If you want to be a pilot, you hang out with pilots. If you want to be a senior, a healthy senior, you need to spend time with the elders.
That's right.
And elders, I mean, that's the campaign. They risk less and they do more to take care of themselves. They get their vaccines. They wash their hands. Risk less, do more, and do your part. And in science, we'll do ours to help keeping you informed and try to help you stay healthy and at peace.
I love it. Well, thank you again, Dr. Griggs. We definitely will be checking back in with you at a later date for more information. But this has been some amazing tips for us to keep us reminded as we head into cold and flu season. All right. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
All right. Well, you all heard it. Definitely make sure that you continue to practice. I think that's just a lifetime thing that we should be doing, making sure that we wash our hands, get rest, stay close to our pediatrician, stay close to your doctor, and making sure it's easy for us. I know as a mom, it was really easy for me to have a relationship with my kid's pediatrician, not so much for me to do the same things for myself. So that's a great reminder for me to take care of baby Christal, reminder for you to make sure that you're taking care of your family, but make sure that the number one person that you're taking care of is yourself, so we can keep everyone healthy. This has been Christal Jordan for Lennox and Parker. I will see you guys soon. Stay tuned for more. And of course, you can hear more from this interview, more information about how you can get resources and keep up with Dr. Griggs on LennoxandParker.com. See you guys soon.